How you doing? Welcome to Brezza. My name is Maurizio Abdi. I want to introduce you guys to the rebranded Brezza. We did some renovations and Mario's here today on a good timing. We just got our new chairs in and everything's happening.
So tell me what you've done from a physical standpoint to the restaurant.
Yeah, Mario, so the last week I shut down the restaurant and the first thing we did is we took out the carpet and installed some new flooring. Then we did some painting the next day and we did the downstairs as well. We set up the private dining room so it's available to use now. And now we just finalized our chairs. We have new chairs in and that's phase one of the rebranding of the business.
So what's phase two?
Phase two is next year. We're looking at some lighting options. These lights came with the restaurant. My dad had them in for the last 30 years. I'm looking to get them replaced. Some customers are not so happy about it, but I always tell them when you don't adapt, you become extinct, and we have to keep moving.
Okay, tell us what the plans are for the restaurant. What are you going to do new here that taking on the legacy of your father's proprietorship of this restaurant?
That's a great question. It's a big shoes to fill, obviously, so I wanted to make sure I had a good structured plan for the next 5 years. I think most importantly is I just want to do what he did when he started the business, which is capitalize the people, capture the area, make sure everybody believes in what we're doing here. So going back to what the roots were with fresh food, fresh ingredients, a smaller menu focused on real Italian traditional food, but with a modern touch. What I want to bring in is some stools and bring on to a potential bar. So I want to turn this place into a potential wine bar in the evenings. In contrary to actually having the same structured menu, just a bit smaller with appetizers and touchables and tastings and stuff like that. So we'll be doing some wine events in the fall and we'll be doing a lot of Christmas parties and we're just getting geared up for that. And what I want to do is just add something new and fresh into the business.
And you also started some the patio too, right? Can
Yes.
you talk about that and what kind of events you've had in the patio?
Yeah, so we did 3 or 4 bands coming in throughout the summer and that was a big success. Everybody from the area loved it and people were coming out of town for it. So it was a real big hit and we love to have people out there and enjoying this First Street energy that we have here in Bridgeland.
All right. Tell me what it's like taking over a business like this that your father had built from the ground up.
It's actually indescribable in a sense for words. Coming in, I tried to keep both feet on the ground and just learn as much as I could because obviously he was the pro and I have a lot to learn, but I've been humbled and I've learned so much and I've been lucky and privileged to have the clientele that he had and all the people who loved him and told me stories about him. It's been a real honor to be a part of it.
So what do you think you, Maurizio, learned from your dad in running this business? The keys.
Most importantly, I think as I'm getting older, I understand that he didn't do business, he did relationships. And that's what set him apart from his competitors because he didn't care about the money, it was the experience. People came to this restaurant for the last 30, 40 years because they came to see him. And that's something that I take with me every day to make sure I make every client feel like they're not just clients, they're actually family. And they are family in the end of the day. I always say, like, you're my uncle. He was always tell me, this is Uncle Mario, because he understood that, for him, it was more just about bringing people in and having them have a lunch or dinner. It's about making them feel at home. And that's why this place is still in this house, because we want to keep elevating that experience.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the menu, and you talked a bit about what you're planning on doing. Tell me the why behind it. Why?
Yeah, I just think about what my nonna used to do in this restaurant. She'd come in every day and she'd use whatever she'd have and make it special. And people would line up for hours just to have a lunch or dinner with her and stuff like that, with her in the kitchen. I think that's something that they really captured the people with, was that home style cooking that you really could taste the authenticity behind. And that's something I want to really capture with this new menu. I don't want to take any shortcuts. I want to make sure everybody tastes the real ingredients. And when I was living in Italy, it was big for me to learn how they were doing that over there and bring that over here, as well as keeping that clientele happy that's already been here for so long.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Maurizio. After school, where did you go? What did you do?
Yeah, so shortly after my father passed away, I made the decision to dedicate my life to football. So I started taking the game more seriously. It was always a gift that I had, but my father always told me when I was young to just make sure I'm focused and do what I want to do, and whatever I'll do, I'll succeed. So he gave me the confidence to kind of elevate that experience. So I left to Europe when I was 16 for the first time, and then I moved to the BC. I played professionally over there, and then from BC I moved over to Europe. I signed my first contract at 18. I lived in Germany for 2 years, and then I moved on to Italy. And with moving to Italy, I started to kind of expand my portfolio and get into the restaurant business because I was already enjoying it a bit more. So I started to play football on the side and work at a restaurant called Pierluigi, which brought me to understanding the real like top restaurants in Rome. So from there, eventually my mom gave me the call and she was asking me about what I want to do, and I was happy with how football went, and I was at a place where I was kind of thinking it was, again, passion versus purpose, and I think this is for carrying the legacy, and I want to continue to do that with my sister, and we have plans that are much bigger in the next 5 years that we want to keep elevating on.
So just as an aside, when you're saying football, for most people, they know that's soccer.
That's right, I apologize. Yeah, that's right. It's soccer in North America, but for me, it's calcio, football. So.
What do you think you learned from the food industry, restaurant industry in Rome?
People say if you go to New York and you make it there, you can make it anywhere, but I truly believe if you can do it in Rome, you can do it anywhere. Here, if you change the price of food, it's not going to affect your customer base exponentially. If you turn a margarita in Rome from €6 to €7, the next day you're out of business.
Yeah.
It's so cutthroat, and there's 12,000 restaurants in just the neighboring areas, and the moment people are not interested in what you're doing anymore, they'll eat you alive. Yeah. And everything there, it's not as progressive, so you can't take as many risks with the food over there. So I've really learned a lot about that, and I was privileged to have a good mentor working at Pierluigi who just taught me about the industry and hospitality in its sense, and sometimes you have to adapt and change for the better, and some of the customers may not be happy at the time, but they'll understand in the future, and that's something that I really learned as well.
Okay, so a lot of people, when you talk about that, a lot of people are going to be used to the old La Brezza, right?
Yes.
How do you think they're going to adjust to what you're doing?
Yeah, obviously with a restaurant with this type of reputation and goodwill, it's important that I keep everyone happy, but at the same time I have to do what's best for the business. So sometimes if I take something off the menu or I change something, people are kind of, at first they're like skeptical, but then the moment they taste the new dish and what we're trying to do, they're completely, understanding that like sometimes it's important to make these changes and elevate the things that you do, because sometimes it's important to keep everything the same, but it's just important to keep growing. That's the important thing.
So where do you see the business being in 5 years?
I don't want to put anything too dramatic on the table, but I just want to see growth, just continuous growth, and keep elevating the level. And if something happens here that we can bring it to the next level, whether it's scaling or doing something bigger here, then that's what it is.
Okay. As a kid, when you came in here, what did you usually eat?
Oh, every day I would have aglio olio. That's my favorite. It's just a simple garlic. We always do it for the guests that ask for it. It's just simple garlic pasta, and my nonna used to put anchovies in it because it would give it that flavor. So that was a classic one for me.
And your father too, I remember. He used to, that's whenever I came in here, that's all he ate all the time.
That's funny, yeah, it's funny that. Yeah, that was his favorite. He loved anchovies.
All right, super. Well, thanks, Mauricio, and good luck with things in the future.
Thank you, Mario. Always a pleasure to have you here.